Day that I just had to meet you, and I said, great, I'll see her at this event. And she is the owner of Encore Performance Group, and she's got something really special for us today. But Kathy actually is the president and owner of Encore Performance Group, and she also founded something called Destination Breakthrough, which is really interesting. And what she does is she works with women executives and entrepreneurs that are trying to find personal fulfillment while growing the bottom line of their business. And this is how she does it. This is my favorite part. There's some normal stuff, right? Assessments, individual coaching, business consultation, workshops, and my favorite are these 3-day luxury boutique retreats around the world, right? That doesn't sound too bad. And so what she does is she helps women become courageous and powerful leaders. And so I am so excited to have you welcome us back to the conference. Thank you.
Not a podium speaker. Sorry. So, it's been interesting to go through this day so far and hear stories. And I sat there as a participant and I said, it's one thing for me to sit here and tell you about me, but eventually we need to turn the tide and confront you with you. So I promise to not spend too much time telling you a lot of information before I make sure that I turn the tides and that you get what you came here to get. How many of you came here with hope? How many of you have come to other events with hope and left with a nice memory? But nothing changed. That template, thank you. So she's so honest. Give her a round of applause for her honesty. How many of you have gone back to your handout so far and actually started writing stuff down? Okay, those of you who are giving me the smirks, that's awesome. You can do it out loud. That's all good. There's something about meeting the pinnacle of yourself. And it's that moment when you get butterflies in your stomach, and when somebody unexpectedly goes up to you and calls you on your stuff. You see, every single one of you came here for a reason. And it doesn't matter what your reason is. What matters is what you do with it after you leave. And that's a concept that we continue to hear. I want to invite you to your best self. It begins, and it all begins with your heart knocking. There's some point in time when your heart speaks to you, and usually it's when you're really little. It gives you this direction. And then you've got adults in your life that tell you to stop that. Stop being so loud. Stop being rambunctious. No, go ahead and speak out more. What you're doing isn't good enough. And as little kids, we try and try and try and try to go ahead and make so many other people that we love and respect happy. To the point that when your heart starts to speak and the voice starts to speak, you don't even recognize it. And for those of you that do recognize it and you start to hear it, it scares the living crap out of you. Because God forbid you actually follow it. In preparation for all of my keynotes, I usually watch about 60 different videos, motivational videos. And I don't care who you are, you're going to hear all kinds of models and theories and steps and whatnot. But what lasts most are the stories. For me, it began in 1976. This is my mom, right here, and this was me, at 3. Actually, 1977. Ooh, I just got the math. It's Kathy math, sorry. My mother was cast as Violetta in Giuseppe Verdi's La Traviata. And on any given night, if you were to come into my house, into my basement in Denver, Colorado, you would have heard my mother preparing. Sempre libero de Dio foglio giorni, giorno e giorno. And at age 3, as she practiced, she was amazed. Sempre libero de Dio foglio giorno e giorno. At 3. At 3 years old, I could hit a high A above high C. That's talent, yes? And it's that talent that got me a full ride scholarship from the St. Petersburg Yacht Club to the University of Florida on songs such as Alleluia, 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 Alleluia. As well as if you have a talent like this, what should you do with it? Use it. But what happens when something inside you is changing? And you're on the platform in your junior year in college, and the voice speaks. And the voice says, if this is it, if all you ever do is stand on a stage and sing pretty and make people laugh and cry at the performance, then you're not fulfilling your purpose. Then what do? Me? I quit singing. From 1996 to 2006, I didn't sing a single note. Not one. I went on the journey of trying to find out what it is I did want to do. And I came through coaching, and I got into this thing called speaking, and I eventually got to HSN, where I ran all leadership development and strategic thinking for the company. Learning to work with the CEOs such like Mindy Grossman, and designing the executive retreats, and most importantly, speaking to those people one-on-one, right into their heart, and saying, you're full of crap, and you know it, so get over yourself and get on with it already. And that's what I have found is true with pretty much all of the clients I've worked with. At some point in time, you're full of crap, and you know it. And the reason you come to events like this is you're ready to get over it. Is that right? Is that a hua? Well, I entered HSN in the year 2000. And around 2005, I heard the voice. And the voice said, if you don't get out of here and go do what you were really meant to do, then you're wasting your time. And it's about that time in my life that I learned about this thing called being a manager versus a leader. And I was gifted the soundtrack to Wicked. And I decided that I wanted to manage the heck out of people, but I didn't decide to be a leader. And I heard this song. Something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game. Too late for second guessing. Too late to go back to sleep. It's time to trust my instinct. Close my eyes and leave. Isn't that how it feels right now? You've heard about finance. You've heard about health. You've heard about your brand. How many of you are waiting for that next line? Like, come on. It's time to try to find gravity. I think I'll try to find gravity. You want to go on with it. But you sit there in your life and you're fighting, not breaking through. The idea of your best is not your best. Sitting in this seat is not your best. Your best is jumping. I spent a time doing team building around the state of Florida. And I would watch everybody get to the top of that pole. The one that's about 5 inches wide, thick, in diameter. And they stood there and did all their best to shake with the fear. And I had a woman who was the fire chief of Hillsborough County saying, I don't think I can do this. I've got 12 people on the ground waiting for me. I'm scared, so I'm not going to do it and embarrass myself. And what's interesting is that she hadn't learned the lesson yet that just because you're full of fear doesn't mean you can't move forward anyway. Fear is necessary with courage. You talk to any hero, and what you hear them say is, yeah, they were scared, but they did it anyway. That's what leaping forward is. So, what is it that I left HSN for? What is it that I stopped singing professionally and I decided not to go to the Met that next semester when I was supposed to audition? It was Destination Breakthrough. Now, you mentioned, thank you very much, the 3-day women's luxury retreat. I tried to get that darn thing off the ground for 2 years. I eventually enlisted Elite Travel with Tammy Levent, which you will hear about, and we designed an amazing experience. The lessons that I learned from Jennifer Samuel Chance was to design the emotional experience first. The reason being is that your life's meaning is 100% wrapped up in how you feel about it. And at the end of the day, those regrets that you heard about are going to be the feelings of remorse or the feelings of love. So I finally took the bull by the horns and I coordinated 10 women, 10 executives, and we took the retreat to Vail, Colorado. Luxury. And standing at the top of the mountain, after 2 days of them telling me their get over it stuff, I stood and I finally gave my opera concert to them at sunset. And when I was finished, every single one of them looked like this. Now, it's really kind of hard to see for some of you, but this is a picture of Robin Donaldson. Robin owns 6 different companies. She's a multimillionaire. But what was waiting for her was her nonprofit that she hadn't started yet. And she gave herself permission. And I got her on video camera. And this is the face of her seeing herself committing. Literally, that moment that she said, I'm starting a 501c3 nonprofit for girls. That's the face. That is what you look like. That is that child face that waits to be... Can any of you see it? It's really... Isn't it just like you see like a little kid in a woman's body? That's what every single one of you looks like, who's standing at the edge of your status quo, hoping you listen and take action. Behind your voice are choices. And what's interesting about this is that when you choose to play and defy your gravity, you can do amazing things. This is a picture of Nusha Rostampur. Nusha is the daughter of 2 Iranian parents who told her she needed to go and get a master's degree in IO psychology. But what was unlocked inside of her that she finally let go at Destination Breakthrough was to open up a downtown lounge in Denver. When she finally gave herself permission to stop living her mother's life and to start living her life, at the top of that mountain, she declared she was now the club. She was a new club owner for a downtown lounge. And within 4 days after leaving Destination Breakthrough, this woman that you see right here had $5 million secured to open her business. You see, what's interesting about your career progression and acceleration is that when you learn how to listen to the voice and get rid of the crap that's in the way, you've been waiting for so long to get going, you won't believe your success. I would take a look at our ladies, Nordan and Halal. Putting on this event was accelerated. Would anybody else agree?
Yes.
This event is a testament to getting your head and your heart straight, going for it all out, and here we are. When you sit on the sidelines of your own life, you're just waiting to be great. Now I have an opportunity for you. On your handouts there, you've got something which is Core Map. And what I find with people is that their bus is usually being driven by one of 4 needs. Now, it's not necessarily the need of your voice. Most of the time, it's your need of guilt. Particularly as women, we stop listening to our voice out of guilt to try and satisfy somebody else. Take, for instance, somebody whose #1 need in life is achievement. And yet, they grew up in a house where they were told to be quiet, don't stand out, keep the peace, and try and be perfect. And when that voice finally comes out, and they say, I think I want to be this commander, it looks really wobbly and scary. What you see here, thank you so much to Brian also, is your brain. You've got a left side and a right side, and in the middle you've got this thing called the corpus callosum, which does, go ahead, it's the super highway between the two. What's interesting is that every single one of you has a need center. That when you send enough brain waves to one of those four quadrants in a healthy way, you feel fulfilled. So I go back to life has meaning in how you feel. So when you learn how to exercise your muscles into one of those quadrants of the brain, that's when you start to feel fulfilled. I've got real quickly an example here of somebody that took a core map. This person right here was putting a tremendous amount of life energy into being a relator. It's the exact example I gave you. That person, actually, when we did their assessment, was a commander entertainer. Organizer was third and relator was fourth. This person right here went from earning roughly $3,000 every single month to $8,000 a week. When you get your butt straight, when you get your head and your heart aligned, you will have accelerated success. Accelerated. We don't have time for all of this, but I'm more than happy. You guys have my number and my name and whatnot, and I'll be back up again, so we'll get back to it. But I want you to know Bet. Bet went to Destination Breakthrough, and before she got there, she was a database writer and had a dream of being a speaker for the database writing community. She called me last week to tell me that she now has Verizon as a sponsor for the first annual IT symposium here in Tampa Bay, where she's headlining. Now, I tell you these stories, and that's nice and interesting, but what's your bucket list? What is your vision? Where are you supposed to be in 12 months? Why are you still sitting on your sideline? What's your top 10 list? Who are you trying to satisfy and make happy? For me, I sang for 22 years for my mother, because she was an opera singer that got nodes. And for anybody that knows what nodes are the death of singing. It's where you stop. And she literally called me one day and said, Kathy, I'm so glad that you now have the talent in the family, because you'll be the one that makes it to go to the Met. So with a pressure like that, I'm going to go ahead and say each single one of you have a pressure on that thing that you haven't gotten on with yet. And it's a pressure that's coming usually outside of you based on some sort of story you made up about who you're going to disappoint and the guilt that you need to fill. But if I went up to that loved one that you're so trying to make happy, and I said, what do you really want for this person? What would they say? I just want you to be happy. So just be happy. And what I'll leave you with here is the newest song. So I have a list. If anybody wants it, email me. Make sure you email me. I have an entire list of iPod music that I would say is good for you and all kinds of things. And when I come back up this afternoon, oh, be careful, because I'm turning the tables on you. Oh, yeah. You're going to laugh, you're going to cry. But I would say if you don't have this new song by Nicki Minaj and Rihanna, you darn well better get it on your iPod like yesterday. Right? I came to win, to fly, to conquer, to thrive. I came to win, to survive, to prosper, to rise. There you go. We'll do better next time. Thank you so much. I look forward to coming back up this afternoon and putting the tables on you.